Welcome to another great episode of the All Around. I'm sorry. I am your gracious host, Dr. Anthony, and we have some amazing topics for you. We are having some technical difficulties, so please bear with us as we work through our tech issues. So hopefully this is the last Monday that we have those issues, right, Mark? Hint, hint. So welcome to the show, Miss Ida Bullock, the beautiful Miss Ida Bullock, and Mark will be joining us a little bit later. We're supposed to have a special guest. Franchier Gardner. Hopefully she's joining us. I'm not sure. I sent her the link, so hopefully, fingers crossed. If not, we will bring her on next Monday to continue with the show. Hi, Ida. How are you? Welcome to the show.
Hey, everybody. Hey, everybody. Woo, Lordy. This heat is not letting me and these Amazon wigs be great. It's not. This was the whole hair.
I'm mimicking Ida with the hair. So, I mean, I'm like, I got my Ida hair on. So the wig is not wigging today. So y'all have to please excuse.
No, it's not letting me be great. This humidity
it's not letting us be great. So I was mimicking Ida with the hair. So
I feel like I'm from Canada. This Canada mist that keeps coming in from, I don't get it. I'm not into this conspiracy theory. And please excuse me, I got my new Invisalign in. I'm down to the last 4 packs. How whatever's going on in Canada keeps coming here every couple of days or every couple of weeks. And my aunt lives in New York, and she said Canada is burning down in the smog. So today when I go outside, it looks smoggy, and they say, oh, because of the Canada stuff. So what is your spin on it? How?
I mean, we can't control the flow of the wind and, things like that or whatever. So I'm quite sure, because they're our northern neighbors. So whatever is going on over there, it will directly affect us, because New York is right there. In other states, the New England states is right there. So I'm quite sure it will have an impact on the air quality. I remember when California was burning, when I used to live in Texas. And so we received a lot of that stuff that was coming from California, that the smoke, the air, the air quality was poor. So yes, if it's there and it's that close, I'm quite sure that, they're going to get some remnants of what's going on in Canada. Mm-hmm. So what I wanted to introduce a topic that has been having the internet ablaze, and it's Keke Palmer and her baby daddy. So to all the people who are out there in TV land, Facebook land, and everywhere else, following along, Keke Palmer wore a nice outfit. I'm going to say nice outfit. Some people didn't think it was nice. Some people thought it was very provocative, and it was disrespectful, or whatever. I didn't think it was disrespectful, because if my ass was like that, I would definitely wear that outfit. But, your girl don't have a big butt. So, we not putting these flat cheeks and nothing remotely close to anything like that. So, it's centered. Some people are saying she was okay with wearing what she wanted to wear. Some people said that she was being disrespectful to the baby daddy, and because she's a mom. So my thing is because I'm a mom, I'm supposed to change who I am, and because I'm dating someone, I'm supposed to change who I am. I'm just it's called self-expression. So I can't express myself. I have to suppress myself and express my identity and express who I am as a person because I'm in a relationship or because I have a child. And I mean, I think she said it best. I'm self-expressing and I'm doing me. And at the time when I was doing some other stuff, it was because I was going through something in my life that you guys basically didn't know about or whatever. But my thing is, why does your clothes have to determine who you are as a person? And my thing is, even with men, when they say, oh, she wouldn't have got raped if she wouldn't have had this on. So we're supposed to dress, cover up and, dress a certain way because men can't handle themselves and men want to reach out and touch because you're out of control. So you victim blame and you blame the woman. You know what I'm saying? So right there, and I'm gonna let you have your say, and then I'll come back.
Well, where he was, first of all, anyone, including this young man, clearly don't know who Keke Palmer is and her persona. Keke walks to her own beat of life. And, in the statement that got he came back, he tweeted and he said, it's the outfit though, you a mom. And
Mm-hmm.
now, what I like about Kiki, because Kiki is a businesswoman. This put her in back on mainstream. Everybody was following, and she was smart enough to get a shirt saying, "I'm a mama, I'm a mother, I'm a mother." Now,
Mm-hmm.
what people didn't know in the background that they had already broke up a week or two ago. So she already, while he was trying to shame her, "You're a mother," and like you said, Kiki, what she does, what I like about Kiki, she's really embracing motherhood. She, as a matter of fact, she said she struggled with cystic acne, and pregnancy cleared it up, gave her a boob, gave her ass that she said she never had. So she's enjoying the last remnants of post pregnancy. This young lady is also an actress, and she was at a concert. Jasmine Sullivan had been called on the stage. You know, Usher, I'm going to see him October, and if I wear a bodysuit, he pulled me on the stage. I'm going to sing with Usher too. Okay, I'm going to do what it do.
So I don't get an invite. I can't go sing with Usher with you. I don't
Nick
get
down, Nick down,
I don't get an invite. I
like
feel
my uncle
offended.
said, Nick down, not Nick down, Nick down, Nick down, Nick down. And so why people are more enraged, um, they really dragged, you remember we had the conversation about Sierra, and she was a whole wife. Now, when you get in these title baby mama, baby daddy, you got to step down. You don't have that clout to check her. So when people start dragging him, they dragged him for every tweet. He had said the young boy had to deactivate his account. Now he's very problematic because he had said things before. So he would say, "You a mother." So what are you trying to say? When you sing her little backside, well, now she was classy, and are we giving her a pass? That young lady know who she is.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody's gonna pass up an opportunity to be on the stage with one of their, she was doing that fan. Oh my God, Usher, and they sang in different stuff. And the funny part, she actually played Chili in the TLC movie as, so it was the throw to that. I
Mm-hmm.
think she now was she first of all, if she was dressed inappropriately, she would not have been able to allow to enter the facility. And she took pictures prior to it and posted. And you know what she said? I wish I'd post some more. And
Mm-hmm.
so she has capitalized on that. I think very few people know how to respond. The young lady is single. Clearly they don't live together, because if they live together, he would knew what his baby mama had before she left, right?
But the
She
thing about it is, even if they did live together, and even if she did have on the outfit, you posted videos of her twerking. You posted videos of her shaking her ass. You posted videos of her dressed similar to this in other instances. So now all of a sudden that she has your child, oh, you're a mother. You know what I'm saying? So you already, and as you stated, you already know what type of person that you're dealing with before you even get to this point. But for me, it just shows his insecurity as a man. You're putting it out there talking about, oh, you're a mom, so you're blaming the baby. You're trying to put something on the baby when it's you who has the insecurities, and when it's you who are thinking, oh my God, I'm about to lose my girl to Usher. You know what I'm saying? Or I'm about to lose my girl to somebody else. So if you had an issue with her, you shouldn't have put it out on the internet. You should have discussed it with your girl first. But my thing is, before you even get with somebody, you already know the person that you're dealing with. So don't try to change who I am after the fact, because you knew who I was before we even decided to even get down and get dirty and commit to a relationship. Because my thing is, I've always dressed the way that I've dressed, ever since
for
I
the
was young,
street, for the
from the
street.
streets, for the streets. So, I've always dressed like that, but I'm tasteful with the way I dress and things like that. Certain stuff I will wear, certain stuff I won't wear. And like I said, if I had her butt, she has a nice, shapely butt. If I had her butt, I will wear it. But Dr. Anthony doesn't have her butt. Dr. Anthony butt is semi-flat. So no, I will not be wearing nothing like that. So, my thing is, like, don't try to shame her and put her out there. But what you thought was going to happen, you thought we as the black community on the internet and the black delegation, you thought we were going to side with you. But what you fail to realize is we ate your ass up because of the hypocrisy of what you did based on the post. Because you had supported all of this up until that point. But then when you saw her singing with Usher, oh, then it was a problem. Then you are a mom. Then you're this. We can be all those things. She can be a mom. She can be an actress. She can be a dancer. She can be all those things. But you tried to body shame her, and you tried to put it on blast as if, okay, well, you have a baby now, so you shouldn't do this. I mean, I don't care if I have a baby. I'm still going to dress the way that I want to dress because I love me. And at the end of the day, it's about self-respect and self-love. And that's what she's showing, self-respect and self-love. It's not about pleasing you. It's about pleasing her. And he just showed like I said, he just showed how insecure he was when the clips and the pictures came out of Usher serenading her. And she turned around and she did what she did and, whatever. So it just showed your insecurity. Mark?
Now, I don't think he was insecure. I personally think he showed,
wait a minute. Wait a minute.
Hold up. Pump your brakes. Pump your brakes.
Go, Mark.
That's going to tease Ida.
Go ahead, Mark.
You said what?
No, I got to ask you something because Dr. Anthony just said something that is going to shock the world and shock the nation and everything. So I just want to make sure that I heard her say this correctly, because the stereotype that exists out there is that all sisters got a backside. And I know for a fact that that isn't always the case and everything. But can you shatter that myth for a lot of folks? Because you just said that you are flat on the backside and everything. And there's a lot of folks that will go, wait a minute, I thought that all sisters had a backside, but I know that that is a myth. But you got folks out there that believe the myth. So would you please conquer that myth that exists, that folks think that all sisters have that 36, 24, 36 Commodore's frame, if I can borrow from that old classic song?
Go, T, tell them your story. Tell them what happened.
Well, I mean, we all come in different shapes and sizes, just like we all come in different colors and things like that. We're light. We're dark, and everything else in between. So everybody does not have the voluptuousness that, comes with the stereotypical body of a Black woman. Now, most of my sisters are curvaceous. I didn't get that from my grandmother. They got everything from my grandmother. They got the butts, they got the boobs, they got the curves. I got the intelligence, I got the beauty, I got the brains, I got all of that. But as far as the curves and the ass, it just, it skipped generations. It skipped my generation, and it just went down to the sisters. You know what I'm saying? So, and I'm not mad because I embrace my body. I embrace who I am, but I know that I'm not one of those ones who is built like a typical Black girl, So, I mean, I can still wear junior size clothes, even though I'm a grown ass woman. I can still wear junior size clothes. But I'm okay with that. You know what I'm saying? I'm sexy within my own right. I'm sexy within my own, within my own space. I don't have to have the big butts, the big boobs. Well, I had big boobs, but I got them cut off. But I don't have to have all that stuff or whatever. You know what I'm saying? So I'm good with, how I am. And, just like you said, Mark, it is a myth. All Black women are not built with big bums, and I just happen to be one. But when I take my pictures, I know how to angle my body to make it appear as if I have a big butt, but no, in actuality, I have a girl butt. But I'm good with that.
Like I said, nothing wrong with that. What's your take on that, Ida, and everything? Because that is a myth that exists, that all the sisters are going to look that way and everything. So what's your take on that, Ida?
Yes, and because when the Black community started getting BBL, Black, the white folks and Mexican were like, you are the example, you are the BBL. And I was fortunate enough to get through that line. And when I was younger, people was like, white men would be like, is that, because Black women, the only one that gives a runner up to a Black woman body, it's a Latin woman when it comes to the perfect body. Like they say, she's a brick house. When you see a Black woman, and even that little term myth, I didn't even know what that means. When white men, when they look at Beyonce and you look at a Black woman looking like, and then you like, but when I look at Dr. A, her body is proportioned to her. She would look very odd with a big ass. Because with the way we talk, we don't call each other butts. We say we have ass, sis. This. And
you put a cast on it.
And I actually had one of my friends want to get a BBL, and they said I took several pictures of your ass, Ida, and the doctor said Ida have what you call a shelf. My booty, and they have a whole and like you said, it does feed into stereotypes and this generation. Do I think it's a trend or a fad that was somewhat tied to the Kim Kardashian, and and because we were homegrown, that's usually what we used to say. When you met a black woman, you met a homegrown creature. And the white girls could not compete under any capacity.
Girl, they still can't compete.
And you could tell when
Even
a
with
black
the BBLs.
you were from, and you could, so like you said, is the boobs and different stuff, and so I like I said, I think the whole show is really about black women and beauty. But Dr. L is she got like legs like a gazelle or giraffe, and you got some people that would die for that. And now you got people dying to get that, and it ties with the body shaming. It also ties with accepting yourself. I seen someone recently with a BBL, and it did, and you could tell a homegrown ass. You could tell something. You be like, no, it's a no for me. And like
Hey,
go ahead.
No, just going to bring up with something we brought up on a past show, and I definitely love to hear Dr. Anthony's thoughts, but you kind of alluded to it. There are a lot of brothers that are falling for the Latin women and falling for the Asian women and all in that space, and sometimes they are ignoring the sisters, and I don't think that is fair to the sisters, but I'd love to know your thoughts about this, because I do know that sometimes people are not giving due respect to those that are of their own culture and all in that space. So love to hear y'all's thoughts. And it does look like our guest, French Air, has arrived. So I'm hoping to bring her up very shortly. But
okay,
while I'm pulling that up, if you can.
So let's finish this discussion. So there's this group of guys that is called the Passport Brothers, and so what they do is they date women outside of the country and outside of the black race. We don't have a problem with you dating outside of your race. The issue that we have is you're saying that you're dating outside of your race because black women are like this. You're dating outside of your race because black women are loud. You're dating outside of your race because you're saying that black women are not docile. You're dating outside of your race because you're saying that black women are not feminine. But how can we be all those things when you haven't stepped up and when you haven't done the things that you're supposed to be doing? When you haven't stepped up, you can't pay the bills. You can't do what you need to do in terms of your responsibilities, but you're quick to say that we're at a downside or whatever because you don't want to date us. 9 times out of 10, you're one of those brothers that we wouldn't date anyway. So we're glad that they're taking your asses off our hands. We don't want you sleeping on our couch. We don't want you sucking up our free air, and you don't want to work, and all you want to do is just play video games and sit at home and dap up your boys and things like that while we go out and work, and you expect me to bring home my check, and you expect me to bring work and you just do what you're supposed to do because you claim that you're the man of the house. How can you be the man of the house when you haven't stepped up and when you haven't done what you needed to do? So guess what? We're glad that they're taking you off of our hands because you're one of the ones that we probably wouldn't date anyway. So so go do your thing. Go get your Latin woman. Go get your Asian woman. Go get your Caucasian woman. Because guess what? You're the bottom of the barrel, and you're somebody that we wouldn't want anyway. So you're a has-been, and they're getting our leftovers.
Well, where's my invisible pearl body? No. Mark, bring Frenchie on. And you got Passport Sisters now, to bring a balance to it. Now, I consider myself when it comes to dating, not for me, but for people. I think people have the right to be an EEOC lover. I think you have the right to date whatever you want when you want. But why must you? It's a difference between a preference. This is what I prefer. But why must black women always be the target of it?
And that's my thing. You're absolutely correct, and that's my thing. Date who you want to date, but don't say that you're dating this race because black women are like this. That's what I have an issue with, And like you said, you have a preference. If you prefer white women, just say I prefer white women. This is my preference. This is what I want to date. Don't just say I prefer white women because black women are like this. No, leave us the hell up out of it. If that's what you want to date, go ahead and go over there and date the clear people. You know what I'm saying? We don't.
I hear what you're saying, Dr. Dr. Anthony, but I was actually in a meetup. There's all these different things. There's Facebook, there's meetup, there's all these different groups, and there was a new group that started here in the Triangle. That's an area of North Carolina, Raleigh, Durham, Chapel Hill, and it's literally what you were just talking about. It is people that are brilliant proponents of dating outside their race. So it was an interracial club, and there was a lot of folks that were wanting to date whatever. So it's actually run by a sister. So I guess that she has a love for the white boys and all in that space. So she definitely wanted to kind of like to find a way that she could gather some of those like-minded individuals and all in that space. So what is your thoughts about these
So,
kinds
but the
of
thing
clubs?
about that, Mark, is black women don't go out and say, "Well, I'm dating a white man because black men are like this. I'm dating a Latino man because black men are like that. I'm dating an Asian man because black men are like that." We always hold black men to the highest regard. We would prefer to date our own, but they don't prefer to date us. But we don't use it as an excuse to, date outside of our race. If we date outside of our race, it's because we've met someone that we're compatible with and that we want to. That's the person that we want to date. We don't use excuses as to why we're dating this person. They'll say, "Oh, I'm not dating black women because black women are loud. I'm not dating black women because black women they're unkept or whatever." We don't have those type of negative connotations when it comes to black men. We just date outside of our race. And what we're trying to get the brothers to understand is, if that's what you prefer, do it. But leave black women out of it. We're not the brunt of you, the reasons why you want to, do what you want to do. Because at the end of the day, you're disrespecting your mama, you're disrespecting your aunt, your sisters, and everybody else, your cousins, when you come up with bullshit as excuses as to why you're doing what you're doing. Just say, "This is what I want to do." But quite naturally, they're not man enough to do that. And they always want to use black women as the target as to why they're saying and why they're doing what they want to do.
But I think the problem with that, if you came to my country and you had that attitude or that energy, well, I'm only attracted to you because you're not a black woman. You begin to, now these interviews are coming up, that these women are capitalizing. Oh, okay, I'll deal with him and let him drop these coins. I even give him a mulatto or mixed baby, but I'm really not attracted to black men. So this is becoming, like they say, a passport. It becoming a relationship. And the black man, he follows on U.S. citizen to be a citizen, and is willing to share her body and even procreate a baby to come to the United States. So the reality, you're setting yourself up not for real love. If I got in my mind, and we know, I know you protect every black woman in America, Dr. A. I know you do. But some black women have the same energy. I have, and like you said, always bother or concern when a person will say, "I don't date black women," or
Your phone is breaking up.
Hey. We can't see you.
Your phone is breaking up. No, I agree, Ida. I agree totally with you when it comes to, like black women dating outside of their race. But I don't have an issue with it. The issue is when you're blaming someone else for your preference of dating. That's where the issue, and that's what the concern is for me, is because, most black men will say, "I'm not into black women because black women are like this. I'm not into black women because black women does this. I'm not into black women because black women are loud. I'm not into black women because black women is, this, that, and the other." But 9 times out of 10, black women who date white men, they don't blame brothers for dating white men. They just go out and they date whoever they're going to date, if whether it be white, Latin, or whatever. You know what I'm saying? So we're going to go ahead and shift our topic over to our guest. Our guest is here, and she's an author. I have to pull your bio back up because I wasn't for sure if you're going to make it. So let me pull your bio back up so I can give them some background info on you. So how do you pronounce your name? Is it Frencher? Take your Frencher.
Yes, Frencher.
Okay, French hair. So we have French hair in the house. French hair Gardner. She's a mother of four. She graduated from Southern Methodist University. Yay! I went to SMU. I studied Spanish over there as well in Dallas, Texas, with a bachelor's of arts in psychology and a bachelor's of arts in sociology in 2002. Overcoming trauma such as being molested by her father, domestic violence and relationships, homelessness, and mental illness struggles with bipolar depression. The toughest trauma she endures is the separation of her and her children. Despite such pains, Francia remains nature, joy, and nurturing people, and she desires to see folks excel, especially Black and Brown business owners. Hi, Francia. How are you? It's nice to have you as a guest on the show.
Thanks for having me.
Your phone is breaking up. Can you come into your speak into your mic a little bit, please?
I'm doing great. How are you today?
I am awesome. So my co-host is Ida Bullock. So she's a comedian and a life coach. So we'll be alternating the questions between she and myself. And I mean, if you want to stop and, give us some additional information, feel free. And so we'll just go ahead and get on right with the interview and just moving forward because we only have like 30 minutes left. So I want to make sure that you get your time and go from there. So I know you have a host of books that you have authored. Start with the one that was the most for you and the most important, and tell us why you wrote that book and give us, some details about it, please.
Okay, yes. So I am the award-winning author of Mommy and Daddy, Do You Still Love Me Anymore? And Mommy and Daddy, Do You Still Love Me Anymore came about as a dream. I woke up from a vivid dream in 2019, and my peer was telling me that I do more to let my children know that I still love them. And currently, my children are adopted. And they're my biological children, but due to the situation with my husband, and we got separated from my children. So I wanted to write this love letter to my four children, Joseph Jr., French Hair 2, Melchizedek, and Sarai. And I wrote the book in one day. I penned the book in one day, and then I published it on the same day as an ebook. And then I published, did a second edition of the book, Mommy and Daddy, Do You Still Love Me Anymore? As a paperback. I collaborated with my good friend Del Chambers, who the book for me. So now the book is available in Kindle, ebook, paperback, and it's also available in Spanish and as an audiobook. And the global message of the children's book, outside of being a love letter to my four children, to let them know that I still love them, I wanted to write this book for anyone, children or adults who have been in foster care or adoption systems, to remind them that their biological parents love them, to think about them and still care for them.
That sounds like a beautiful story. Ida, do you have a question for her?
No, I pulled her up on Amazon because I'm an avid book reader, lover, and I'm looking forward to reading the book. I see you do have
your phone is breaking up.
Me, I'm breaking up.
Ida, yeah, your phone is breaking up. Can you adjust it?
Let me put my AirPods in. Is that going to help it? Did that make it better?
Somewhat, but your video is a little fuzzy.
I was trying to fix me some coffee. Okay, can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you now. Sorry.
Much better?
Yes, so can you repeat what you said, please?
So it took a lot of courage to be able to share your story about sexual childhood trauma, the impact it had on you, and what made you decide to become a foster parent?
Made me decide to do what? I'm sorry.
So she's saying
Why
that
did you become
to talk about sexual
adopt?
trauma and things and all of the things that you have experienced. What made you decide to adopt the children and become, or did you become a foster parent, or these are your biological children?
No, these were my biological children.
Okay.
Yes,
So
I have 4 children.
Mm-hmm. So how did you come up with the title of the book? The title of the book is very profound, straightforward. How did you
Mm-hmm.
decide? Is that based on you, your relationship with your parents? How you decided? Why did you name the book what you named it?
I book
Your phone
I
is breaking up. Can you
Okay, try it again.
can you adjust your phone? Your phone is breaking up. We can barely hear you. No, we can barely hear you.
okay.
I'm sorry. Can you repeat yourself?
Can you hear me now?
Barely. It's a little bit better.
Oh, so I was saying that
Okay, so we lost her. So basically, she was talking about trauma and dealing with some type of trauma and hurt throughout her life. She was molested by her father, and so we're trying to delve down and dig deep into why she wrote the book and why she came up with the title. So we're gonna wait for her to pop back in. But Ida, we can go ahead and revert back to the topic that we were talking about
Oh
prior
God,
to
no, please, no.
our guest popping in. So we're gonna talk about that for a little bit until she gets her tech together. So
Mm-hmm.
even the Passport Sisters, we don't hear them being negative towards Black men. The
Oh,
issue
okay.
is, I've never heard them. I'm just gonna
No.
put it like this: I've
Okay.
never heard
Okay.
them being
Okay.
negative towards Black men.
Mm-hmm.
But with the Passport Brothers, you have brothers out there who have dedicated shows and who have
Mm-hmm.
dedicated videos on TikTok and
Mm-hmm.
other things, bashing Black women as to
Mm-hmm.
why they won't date Black women and why Black women are such horrible people and why they won't invest time into Black women. We don't care who you date. The issue is that you're blaming us because you want to date outside of your race and you want to date other women. So
Mm-hmm.
that's
Mm-hmm.
we don't care that you're dating the women. We just don't want to be a part of your reasoning and your rationale as to why you're dating the women. That and that's big for me.
Oh, absolutely. That's just like if you're applying for a job and they say, "Hey, why are you leaving your current job to come here?" And you begin to say these horrible things about your current employer, and then you wonder why the person is reluctant to hire you. And I've seen people do that. Like you said, you have the right and the freedom to date whoever you want, but these other cultures that you are engaging, they are not naive to why you're coming over there. And the funny part, they are capitalizing off of that. They say, okay, you're coming over here and you think my cha-cha is different from the American cha-cha. And what you have done is given them the playlist, how to play you. Oh, because to say I think you got I think the Bible says you got life and death in the power of the tongue. And I think you got very powerful words. And one of the most powerful words I have seen when it comes to relationship is always. It's no way possible that you have an entire cultural sector that all of them are submissive. All of them are, like all Black women are ghetto. So when you play into that narrative, you're really setting yourself up to be financially taken advantage of, and you got women willing to sell their body and give their body to for the financial gain. Because if you're coming to my culture and I know why you're coming, the whole family is in on it. The whole family is in on it, and then they will tell you they don't desire the Black man. I'm just doing this financially because it pays my bill. And how do you know? Because when you do those interviews with those women, they have the same desire like we. Culturally, most people want to stay in their own race.
We're
Most
having
people.
technical difficulties.
Okay, with me. With me.
No, we were having technical difficulties. I was just letting
Okay.
them know. Go ahead.
And so when I have 9 brothers, and all of them are married to Black women. Different shades, different shapes, different colors. But when they did date out of their race, they dated out of their race because it was something they needed to get out of their system. But when they came back to, the most profound women to them were their mother, their aunts, and their grandmothers, and their school teachers. So when you get someone said they don't culturally care for someone, it is some backlash to their own mother and their grandmother. Because when you're saying Black women are ghetto, you're basically saying your mother is ghetto.
Mm-hmm.
And you're throwing shade and spit on your own race for the sake of sex or having a biracial baby. And even the women culturally, when you go into these cultures, they know what the deal is. They know what's up. They said, and they're willing to be with you sexually to pay their family bills. But when you deal with these women privately, they want to have the same race have married them.
And you're absolutely correct, Ida, because I had a friend that remember when I used to work at the prison, I had a friend, he worked at the prison as well. And so he and I were discussing his what do you call it, mail order bride. And he had a mail order bride. And so I was basically telling him don't do it and things like that. But he was like, oh, she's so into me. She wants me. She wants this. She wants that. But then when he actually married her and got her over here, it was something totally different. So she wanted, she wanted money to send to the, like you said, to send home to the people. She was Dominican. She wanted money to send home to her family and things like that. She wanted him to buy all of them brand new cell phones. I mean, the list was so astronomical that it was insane. She wouldn't sleep with him. She wouldn't do any of those things. She ended up lying to the police. She ended up lying to the police, saying that he had raped her and he had done all kinds of things. And I was like, you need to get rid of this broad. I was like, your career is on the line. I was like, we work in a profession that, we can't have anything to go negative to go against our backgrounds. So eventually he ended up, getting rid of her and sending her back and things like that. The part that these Black men want women from different places and want women from different areas that are not per se Black or whatever, but they don't understand the trouble that they're putting themselves in. And he went through a lot. And I mean, I tried to support him. I tried to be there for him emotionally and things like that or whatever, but he kicked out a lot of money for attorney fees and things going before the judge because she had lied and she had put him in a different position, calling the police on him, basically causing damage to herself and saying that he did it. So he learned, I'm sure he learned his lesson, but yeah, you're right. He did go through a lot with her because it was all about the money for her and her family. And so Nicole Burgess said, how can they look in the mirror and be a product of an African-American woman and not love what you see? Do they love themselves? That's a very serious problem. Exactly. And that's he
should have taken that money to get counseling. Because if you watch 90 Day Fiance, you got 90 days to marry up in this person, and you look at the reality of the incentive is nothing. What trumps being American? What trumps being a U.S. citizen? And you got people that say the quickest way to become a U.S. citizen is to marry a U.S. citizen. Go and find you a dodo bird that hates his culture, that hates things about him. Now, like I said, I'm a veteran. I've served overseas. I'm an open component of interracial relationship, but it's hard to make something fair when it starts uneven. You're going to a predominantly third world country with poverty, and you are like a lottery ticket to someone, and they can see the brokenness. Now, people do fall in love. I look at Candace Owens, you got Black women with white men. And so when you're looking at someone that has some underlying issues with their race,
Candace Owens will be representative of that.
And now you'd be surprised. I actually like Candace Owens. From a branding marketing, Kevin Samuel, it's a couple of more people that they was able to maximize. Now, do I think they have issues with their cultures? Yes. But do I think they have issues at the level they say no, because it became about money? Now, Candace, the other day I was watching her. She was talking about how Black Lives Matter scammed the Black community, how we racist, it's a hustle. So, like you said, when people are putting themselves, and I like how you said, Dr. A, and you gave the true example. You was his support as a Black woman, even though he was rejecting. When Tiger Woods and things are going, they run, they come that Blackness, they get, oh, I'm Black. And just like the other day, and I hope we can discuss that young girl that went missing. What I like about you and I, that we can be really misguided. We support Black women under all circumstances. I now don't think that is the best approach, because we, and we support our Black men under all circumstances until they stop supporting us. So to say I'm a passport brother, you got good credit, you got routing them, but you can't really believe these jokers want you. You go into a culture with money and having people have sex with you because you got some underlying issue. Because you say Cardi B and all these we chicken heads. But really, you're talking about somebody in your own family, or you talking about somebody rejected you in the ninth grade. Go Marco Polo, Marco. I see you nodding. Mark, look, that light make you look like you Dominican today. You look Dominican, Brazilian.
So
you
we have a
everything
comment down there as well. So Nicole Burgess says, our culture, we are always open armed to other cultures, but it's not reciprocated. No, that's absolutely true. We will always welcome other cultures, but they don't welcome us. Like I tell people all the time, everybody wants to be Black until it's time to be Black. They want to, you see the neck popping, the lips snapping, and all of these Black traits that Black women in the hood and Black women just across different spectrums were doing prior to other people copying and basically making a blueprint of us. And so it's a problem, like Angel Reese said, it's a problem when we do it, but it's accepted when they do it. So even with Kim Kardashians and all of them wearing the Bantu knots and having the tiny waists and the big butts, Black women have always sported big butts and Bantu knots and tiny waists and things like that, full lips. But we get talked about for the way that we look with the full lips, the big asses, and the tiny waist, but other women get praised for it. We get talked about because we're very dominant sometimes in our culture. We're very loud, we're very boisterous. But when they do, they're jazzy, they're sassy. Oh, I like that attitude that she's projecting. I like this that she's projecting. But like I said, when we do it, it's a problem. When they do it, it's okay and it's accepted. So my thing is, you can't have your cake and eat it too. It's either you're gonna support the Black women and be okay with it, and or you're gonna continue to do what you're doing, and you're gonna be like I said, you're gonna be bitch made, so you can't be you can't straddle the fence and then expect Black women to come to your aid when something happens. Mark, we talked about the young man who was in Florida when his white woman killed him, and his family was like, oh, the Black community need to rally around him and we need to get justice. No, we don't need to do anything, because he chose his stance. He chose what side he wanted to be on. He chose that he wanted to be with that white woman, and that's what he supported, and that's what he wanted. And then when him, then now we're supposed to come to his aid, we're supposed to come and rescue him. No, you can't have your cake and eat it too. It's either you're going to do it or you're not. You know what I'm saying? So when they turn against their Black man, and then they're rejected, then the Black man wants to feel like that he can come back into the Black community. What's the basketball player that they said was on the street, Cottrell Sprewell? So if you remember, a long time ago, Cottrell Sprewell was surrounded by nothing but Latin, Asian, and white women. You know what I'm saying? So my thing is, why should the Black women reach out to him because he's hard up on his luck and he's down on his luck and he has no money? Why should the Black women accept him back into the Black race when when you have you you were too good for a Black woman? So guess what? All those white women and Latino and Asian women that you were chucking that cash to and making it rain, let them support you. You know what I'm saying? Because we have no place over here for you. Because my thing is, when you're broken down and out, then you want to come back to the Black woman and say, oh, I need your help, I need your support. But when you had money and things like that or whatever, it was a problem, it was an issue. So no, let them help you, let them support you. So we don't have time for that, and we're not. Ida,
where's my pearls? Where are
what?
my
I'm just speaking truth.
Where am I?
I think I was being today.
No, but what I like, if what you ain't gonna do as a whole person, that's what you are right now. And I love that energy, because you said what you ain't gonna do is reject us openly, and then privately, when you start going to come back over here and help me. And like you said, we have to change the narrative of how we engage our Black people that reject us, and then they want to come back when time, woe is me, things that went wrong. Because I last week I was watching a commentary. Tom Brady best friend say under no circumstance will he be messing with Kim Kardashian. And he made reference that, dealt with the Black community, and it's a step down to Tom Brady for him to insert his white gold and 7 rings in her street vagina now, and they didn't care how much money she had. And he broke down, wish I should have sent it to Mark so we could play the narrative. And people were trying to drag him, but then the white folk were like, yeah, and he said what he said. So
hey, same.
Go ahead, Mark.
Now, I'm just going to say really quickly, and I'd love to hear Dr. Anthony's thoughts about this as well as yours, Ida. We've got a few minutes to go on this show and all along those lines. But there is this narrative that some cultures, particularly you mentioned the Latin cultures, are very proud of their connection to the African American roots and to the African roots, but they are not as always as proud as they could be. So what is your take on those that are proud when they need to be or want to be, but not necessarily all the time?
You go first, A.
Well, my thing is everybody wants to be Black until it's time to be Black. You know what I'm saying? The only difference is, we were all dropped off on different islands and things like that, so we all speak with different dialects. So on all these different islands and all these different continents, there is some type of Black connection. There's some type of African connection, but you only want to use your Blackness when you're in proximity to Blackness, but you want to accept the whiteness when you can, be in proximity to whiteness, and you can get that white benefit. You know what I'm saying? So we could take Puerto Rico, for example. When the Puerto Ricans were over there struggling, when they ain't have no electricity, and when they ain't have no money, and when their generators and all that stuff was out and things like that, who did they reach out to? They reached out to the white community. But in the end, when the white community did not accept them, when Trump was over there treating y'all like smuts and what they call them, mutts and dogs, and derogatory terms, when he was over there treating y'all like that, then you want to say, oh, the Black community need to step up, and the Black community. No, we as the Black community and we as the delegation of the Black community, we don't need to step up and do nothing, because you chose your side. You know what I'm saying? You can't choose your side publicly and then privately come back and say, we want the Black community to align with us. No, it's either you're with us or you're against us. And you have shown us in many capacities that you are against us, because you have a likeness or you have a whiteness. But at the end of the day, all your grandmammas and your grandpappies are Black. So, you need to, look at your lineage and, start there. But you just, can't just say, oh, we're going to use the Blackness when it benefits us, and when it benefits us only. Because when we're marching in the streets, who's marching in the streets? It's Black women that are marching in the streets. And a lot of the things, the programs and things we have is because of Black women, because we band together and we did that. And the statistics don't lie. When Trump was running for office, who voted him into office? White women voted him into office. Black women sided with the Democrats, because we don't vote against our own best interest. When you had the governor in Virginia who was talking about critical race theory, what the white people do? Oh, they clutch their pearls like you, Ida. Because we don't want our little Black kids, our little white kids learning about how their grandmammies and grandpappies, lynch little black kids and things like that. Because if we really look back into the history books, we don't see in the that. So, at the end of the day, I say it like this. Everybody wants to be Black until it's time to be Black. Everybody wants to integrate into the Black culture until it's time to be Black. Everybody wants, the grooviness of the Black culture. They want the grooviness of the music, because we're the trendsetters. We're the blueprint. Y'all didn't do none of this stuff. We to Zydeco, to Go-Go, y'all copy everything, and then y'all want to put a twist on it and say, oh, we invented this. You ain't invent nothing. Everything that you have is stolen. You know what I'm saying? From the land to, the money to everything is stolen. Because if we want to really look at it historically, we can look at it historically. White people ran Black people off their land and nothing was done. White people killed Black people and nothing was done. white women were killing black people at such a high rate that they had to put a law in place to protect their asses because they were killing the masses babies and mulatto children and children of mixed race because they didn't want to see their husbands' faces running around the yards from a black woman. So they put laws in place to protect them because they were killing these people. You know what I'm saying? So my thing is, whatever you want to do is what you want to do. But, don't try to use us as an scapegoat, and don't try to use us as, a pawn in what you want, in what you want, because I tell people all the time, even when the Africans come over here, the Jamaicans, the Haitians, and all this, and they say that they don't have anything to do with black people. Boo, how you think you got over here? And how you think you're able to freely say what you're saying? It is because of the foundational blacks who were here that you're able to do those things. Because without our blood, sweat, and tears, you wouldn't be able to do those things. Ida?
Hallelujah, hallelujah, amen. See, I know when you go down that rat hole, do not bother you. But I totally agree what you say. You hit the educational, you hit the financial, you hit the religion, the faith. Oh, these new Invisalign, it's killing me. Oh,
You're
my
breaking
God.
up a little bit.
Okay. Oh, you be nailing it. You sometimes you take it too far. You always take it too far, but you be nailing it. So I never know what to do with you when you go down that rabbit hole. But like you said, it is a systemic problem with the black culture within ourselves that we need to address. Why do we roll over quickly when other people embrace it? Why do we roll over and we always give the other cheek? Why are we very quick to forgive and forget when other cultures don't? We always look at how when the Asian community had and they rallied behind the Asian community, they made those laws, they shut things down. And I think really it comes down from a historical point. We don't know who we are. We're afraid to really address our past, to really deal with our present. You got blacks out here that never want to even acknowledge that they're black. They like, I'm 1/3 mulatto, I'm 1/3 Starbucks, 5% Dunkin' Donut, and so when you begin to engage black people, we don't know historically what we were built to do. So we and like I said, next time I want to talk about that Black Lives Matter and I will send that article to Mark. Candace Owens, it have problems, but some of the things that she do say about our black community, we do have to address.
I mean, I understand that the black community
scammed us, and now they're filing bankruptcy. It wasn't a scam,
but my thing is, they first of all, you have to separate the two. Okay. Black Lives Matter, meaning the context that my life matters. That's what they were saying. Black Lives Matter, the entity, the organization, is something different from the whole context of my life matters. So you have to separate the two. So Black Lives Matter, meaning that my life matters, is not a scam. The entity or the organization may have been a scam, but not the actual
the federal government matter.
So you have to separate the two. And with Candace Owens, let's just give a little background on Candace Owens. Candace Owens tried to start the same thing with the Democrats, but she couldn't pull that BS that she's doing off on the Democrats. So she jumped over to the white people. But when the NAACP got involved with her case or whatever, she was all black then. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't. I'm going over here to Massa and I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. No, it was all down with the NAACP. And when she won her NAACP case, she tried to do the same thing with the Democrats and the black community, but the black community wasn't buying her bullshit or whatever. So, she's over here now with the Republicans and with her white counterpart or whatever. And so she's over here, they're feeding her things and they're getting her to say things that, that they cannot say. I mean, because even when Andrew Gillum, the guy who was running against Ron DeSantis or whatever, when he got caught in the hotel room, why the hell did she end up with the footage and why the hell did she end up with the information? You know what I'm saying? So my thing is, no, you're a coon, you look like a pet, and that's what you are. So I don't support anything, whether she says anything right or wrong, indifferent or whatever. I don't support anything that she has coming out of her mouth or whatever, because at the end of the day, you still a coon, you showing that you're a coon, and you're actually showing that you're a coon. And not only her, but it was another black lady who was running for what was it? One of the Baltimore seats. She's married to she has a funny white name. She's married to a white man or whatever. So she tried that same, Candace on BS, and they sent her ass packing over there in Baltimore. Ain't nobody vote for her. You know what I'm saying? So you can go over there and say what you want to say about, the blacks, and do what you're gonna do with them white folks. We don't care, because you can go out there and drop dead tomorrow, or that somebody can throw a match and some gas on your ass. We ain't gonna put you out. We gonna blaze the fire. We gonna make sure it's burning so your ass can burn up. You know what I'm saying? That we just don't give two rat's asses about her. You know what I'm saying? And I'm sorry, Ida. I know you say you like her, but I'm just being real. And I'm speaking from the black delegation. So she can go and she can do whatever. But it just is what it is. And she's taking sound bites, and she's taking things and she's putting a twist on it for the white folks, because the white folks know that they can't say those things.
Now, I did not say I like that girl. Take that back. I did not say that.
You listened to her and you said you like
right. I like when people do the research for me, so I don't have to watch 20 video. I like when, and like you said, she got sponsored. Now, from a branding, do I respect how she's willing to be manipulated for those coins? But like it says, that proves my point. She goes where she's going to have the winning hand. And blacks, we need to have our own reverse version of Candace Owens. We had Angela Wright. And what ended up happening, a lot of black activists get tired of the plight of the black community. They get tired of the fight. Just like everybody rallied together about that young lady who was missing. Now everybody's like, that real suspect. The girl said she pulled on the side of the road for the baby. Now she's back and nobody want to say stuff. And so, I think we just have so many conflicts in the black community. We don't know what to get behind. I would love to get behind an initiative that I could take to my grave. I want to get behind a black initiative that I could ride to the ground, other than a good weed or being snatched. I want to get behind something that have some legacy behind it. Stop attacking me, T. I did not say I like that girl.
I'm not attacking you, Ida. I'm just saying I had to just give some historical context on her, because I was reading in this group that I'm in on Facebook, and somebody else said that they actually like her and they look up to her, and I'm like, what? You look up to her? Like, did you do the research on this, bro? Did you understand? You know what I'm saying? What are you looking up to? She hasn't done anything spectacular. All she's become is a bed wench. You know what I'm saying? So you want to become a bed wench?
So it
is what it is.
Play or hate the game. Now
I'm not hating anything. But I prefer brothers over anything. So Nicole says this country was built off the sweat and tears of our African ancestors. So yes, this woman loves being African American, and I mean I love being black too, because if I died and came back at anything, I want to come back as a black woman, another black woman, a strong black woman. You know what I'm saying? Because when people talk to me, they're like, Dr. Anthony, you look mixed. I'm like, I'm black. I'm blackity black. I'm dark black. I'm all black. You know what I'm saying? Although I do have some other stuff in my bloodline or whatever. I couldn't control that. I wasn't there with the ancestors and things like that or whatever. But it is what it is. Mark, before we head out of here, you have some commentary?
No, I was just enjoying the comments. Y'all were definitely having some powerful comments. I was actually thinking about that. Y'all were mentioning the sister with that case that y'all were talking about. I was thinking about that other young lady that was found to have rescued this kid, and now they're wondering about the kid and whether the kid might not have been abused and all in that space, because that came out last week as well, and that wasn't necessarily in our community, but definitely was an interesting story where they are now wondering whether the gentleman had been there all along and everything in that space. And y'all know the case I'm talking about, because now they're wondering if she had not been abusive to the child for about 15 or 20 years, when the child had been missing for about 20 years, and then all of a sudden mysteriously popped up out of the woodwork and all along those lines. And there's a lot of questions around that case and everything. So, but the time will tell and the courts will tell and everything else. But there's been a lot of conversation as to whether she might have hid them for their own reason, including some reasons that might have involved her own sexuality and everything along those lines. But you'll find out through the course of time what happens with that particular case as well. But I agree with what Nicole said. It's been a great discussion this evening. Look forward to one tomorrow. We've had internet problems, but that happens in the world and everything. So as soon as you give me the magic button or tell me I'm just going to hit the end button on this end and everything, and we'll have your outro on a normal episode of the show. It might be a little bit of a rougher ending than usual, but it'll still be a great ending, and we had a great discussion and all along those lines. But definitely we'll come back with our normal attitude and our normal way of doing things on next week. But I think that this has been a fantastic discussion, and I think people have garnered a lot of knowledge, and I know that they will continue to garner a lot of knowledge with your discussions, and we do air it several times during the course of the week and everything. And by the way, Dr. Anthony and Ida, I have to let you know, because Nick was looking at the numbers, and I think that last week or one of these recent weeks, I want to say two of the shows, but at least one of the shows cracked the top 10, because the shows are seen as to how many people are watching and everything. So there was one of these shows that had a number of views in the multiple of thousands. So I guess folks were watching in India and a number of other places also. So it was definitely in the top 10, because I saw the All Around show was there in the top 10. So top 10 with a rising star. So who knows, it might be number one after a while in all of that space, but it's definitely getting some good reputation on those Vimeo numbers, which is what they depend on.
Nice. That's good to hear, because my YouTube numbers are not where we want them to be, but we're working on that, and we're going to get them. But, for all the people who are following, we are broadcasted live in different countries across the world in different languages. So make sure you guys continue to support and, tell people about the show. We try to bring it raw, real, and, ready. Every time, I'm trying to work on, not making Miss Ida clutch her pearls. I'm trying to, give my commentary in a more profound, discreet way. But, sometimes Dr. Anthony can get real heated. And, when Dr. Anthony get real heated, she goes and she just come real raw and straight from the streets and stuff like that. Well, like Miss Ida say, straight from the streets. And, so we do it that way. But,
Dr. Anthony, I can't talk because I'm looking at, and I don't know this woman from Eve, to borrow that old expression and everything, but I see that Nicole Burgess is saying that as far as Candace Owens, she sees her as a Sambo and all in that space. So I don't know that you can get more raw than that, because she's definitely putting her in the Sambo category. And
Nicole is my sister. She's my sister. So she's supporting. She's my sister, my sister. She's my sister. So yeah. So the clock on the wall says that's all, y'all. So we have some heated topics that we're gonna get into next week, and it's always about race with me. Everything is black and white. I'm always talking about the black community, the black issues, and bringing things to you in a way that you guys need to hear it, in a way that you guys need to understand it. So with that being said, we're gonna sign off for tonight, and please make sure you click like and share, and tune in next week, because we have some more topics. Hot topics that we're going to get into, and I'm going to try to not make Miss Ida clutch her pearls, and we're going to try to, do this thing in a reasonable, rational way. But deuces.
Bye.
Deuces, and we're out of here. And like I said, I might have to go get Miss Ida some new pearls, because she keeps clutching them out. See that there might be some new ones that she needs to get as well. So on that note, I'm hitting that magic end button, and we're getting ready to get on out of here, because I might have to get Miss Ida some new pearls and get you some new pearls as well, because it looks like y'all might need some new pearls going on in that space and everything. But like I said, we're getting ready to end this bad boy. This has been